The recently announced national budget has received mixed reviews from anxious economic observers. We sit down with the JCCI to get their take on the outcome.
From our members' perspective, we were quite pleasant with the focus around the infrastructure plan, the expansion on the grid in terms of electrical generation. Also, once again, a key focus around job creation, which is ultimately what we want. I think that in the context of all these things, we are still finding ourselves in economic downturn. I think certain elements that is quite critical for us is the fact that our debt ratio is still quite high. So how are we going to be as a country servicing that debt? And where is that going to come from? I think that as a chamber focused on supporting businesses, one of the concerns is really around the taxes and whether it's envisaged that you're going to have an increase in tax, and also how does that impact on businesses and the business environment, specifically small businesses. Nominal growth is only really going to come in the next 2-3 years. With everything at this point in time, we need to be able to bed down sustaining businesses. So how do we support small businesses out there is a key factor for the chamber. Being able to ensure that they are able to provide and sustain jobs is going to be quite critical as well. But also where are those market opportunities for small businesses? Whether it's within the plans that government has, for instance, in terms of the infrastructure fund and infrastructure plan as articulated in the economic recovery plan, there's no certainty around those channels for small businesses. But it will definitely add to the economic stimulation.
Sounds like what you're saying is a bit more innovation was required within this budget to make things happen. But from your perspective, what should have been top of mind for the minister?
I think that one of the things that we didn't want to see initially is also the minister dancing around issues and politicking a little bit. I think that the bailout of SAA was one of the things that was definitely not met with pleasantries in the business environment. And that does not bode well if we are bailing out a state-owned enterprise, whereas we could have been more specific around ring-fenced opportunities for small businesses. I think that I would have loved to have seen a more ring-fence focus around specifically access to those opportunities for small businesses in the infrastructure space. If there will be funding opportunities as well, and a set-aside fund for small businesses to access. I think that one of the critical things as a chamber that we realize is that if we're not able to look after the small business environment, big business is not going to be the segue to take us through to an economic recovery plan. It's what we can stimulate on the ground that is quite critical.
Having said that, Sean, what happens next?
I think what happens next is a strong focus around accountability with government. I think the minister in his speech spoke about cost-cutting exercises within government. He also spoke about the wage bill being reduced, and as they go into negotiations with Labour to ensure that the next 3 years will be more critical. I think that we want to see government holding itself accountable to those commitments. I think secondly is really the focus around small business again, and making sure that we are creating those pathways for small business to be active economic participants within the economy and within the recovery of South Africa's economy. And I think thirdly is being able to make sure that we still become a destination for international investment. And I think that one of the things, once again, like the focus on bailing out SAA, sends out a bit of a negative message to especially the rating agencies, and ideally we don't want a downgrade again. So we need to be able to substantiate why the bailout took place, and was it more a political move versus an economic imperative for South Africa.